السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله على إحسانه وشكر له على تفضله وامتنانه، ولا إله إلا الله تعظيما لشأنه، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله داعي إلى رضوانه وعلى آله وأصحابه وإخوانه، أما بعد. إخواني في الله, 28th June 1914. 28th June 1914. There's a young man who's called Gavrilo Princip, a Yugoslav Serb. This is the 28th of June 1914. He takes two of his colleagues, he takes a gun, and he shoots and assassinates the Archduke Ferdinand, who was the Crown Prince of Austria. He kills him and his wife Sophie. This action of this one young man on 28th of June 1914 led to the beginning of the greatest war ever witnessed in the world, World War I at the time. The action of this one young man led to this World War I. And over 20 million people lost their lives in World War I. The World War I was 1914 to 1918. It ended in 1918. But it remained, the effects remained, so much so that World War II was caused by World War I. And over 80 million people lost their lives in World War II. A total of 100 million people lost their lives in World War I and World War II. And if you go back and see what triggered World War I, it is the actions of one young man, Gavrilo Princip, from a Yugoslav Serb. Sometimes, Ikhwani, the actions of one person can have a great effect, a great negative effect in a society. Go back in history, when you read the Quran, you find the people of Thamud. A whole society was completely destroyed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because of the actions of 9 people. The battle of Uhud came. The Prophet ﷺ commanded some of the Muslims, do not leave that hill of Rumah. Don't leave that hill. If you leave, we're going to be destroyed. We're going to be defeated. The Muslims, they left the hill of Rumah, and we were defeated in the battle of Uhud. Sometimes the mistake of one person or a few can have a very destructive effect on the rest of society. Ikhwani fillah, from the signs of the Day of Judgment is the Tatar, the Mongolians, Genghis Khan, la'natullah alayh, and the actions and the massacres that he took upon the Muslim Empire. The Prophet ﷺ, he says in the authentic hadith, لا تقوم الساعة حتى يقاتل المسلمون الترك. The hour, the Day of Judgment will not come until the Muslims will fight the Turkish people. Then he describes them ﷺ. He says, كأن وجوههم المجان المطرقة. Like their faces are beaten up shields. He says, يلبسون شعر ويمشون في شعر. They wear clothes made out of hair or fur, and they wear shoes made out of fur. In a different hadith in al-Bukhari, he says, قوم صغار الأعين. Attribute number 1, he says, their eyes are very small. Number 2, he says, حمر الوجوه. Their face has a reddish complexion. It is reddish. Number 3, he says, قوم صغار الأعين حمر الوجوه ظلف الأنف. They have very small noses but very wide. He says, كأن وجوههم المجان المطرقة. Like their faces are beaten up shields. Their faces are round and they're thick and difficult. Ikhwani fillah, we mentioned these Turkish people are a wide variety of, they're spread over a wide variety of countries. The scholars, they mention that the Prophet Nuh alayhi salam, when he entered the ship, he had 3 sons. And from 3 sons, all of us human beings come from. And from one of his sons called Yafith, the Chinese and the Turkish people, they come from this son of Nuh, Yafith ibn Nuh. So we look now tonight, inshallah, at one of the greatest calamities to befall the Muslims, the presence or the appearance of the Mongolians, the appearance of the Tatar, la'natullah alayhim, but they became Muslims later on, so may alhamdulillah for that. In the year 603, in the land of Mongolia, a young man at the time, was called Temujin. He combined all the tribes of Mongolia, the Uyghurs, the Tatar, the Mongolians, into one formidable force. And he was known from that date on as Genghis Khan, the great Khan, Genghis Khan, from the year 603 of the Hijri calendar. Thereafter, he started conquering the entire Mongolia. He conquered the entire of China, Thailand, Vietnam, Tibet. He conquered all this area, over 9 million square kilometers. Very powerful leader, brutal. He kills, blood is nothing for him, massacres 100,000, 500,000, no problem for him. So he killed all these people until he became the overall ruler in this area. At the time, the Muslims were divided into many kingdoms. The Khawarizm was the one bordering this empire of Mongolia, the Dawla al-Khawarizmiya, where you get the word algorithm from, a Dawla al-Khawarizmiya. You had the Khilafah of the Muslims in Baghdad, but it was a very weak Khilafah. You had the Seljuks in Turkey, where Turkey is right now, Anatole. You had the Ayyubids in Egypt and Syria. So the Muslim empire was divided in Andalus, Tawaif. The Muslims were divided. So in the year 614 of the Hijri calendar, a few businessmen from Mongolia, they enter the land of the Muslim Khawarizm. One mistake can have devastating effect. One mistake. So a few businessmen, traders, they enter from Mongolia to the land bordering it, from the land of the Muslims, the Dawla al-Khawarizmiya, the Dawla al-Khawarizm. So they enter these businessmen. The governor of the time, in a place called Atrar, one of the cities in the Dawla al-Khawarizmiya, he sees these guys have a lot of wealth. And he captures them. And he declares them to be spies. Wallahu alam, if it's true. He declares them to be spies and he kills them. He kills this Mongolian businessman. When this news reached Genghis Khan, the great Khan, the leader of China, Mongolia, Tibet, Thailand, he got very angry. How dare this man kill my tradesmen? He writes a letter, he tells the leader of Khawarizm, Muhammad Shah, surrender to me your governor immediately. I take action upon him with our ruling system, our justice system. The leader of the Muslims, Muhammad Shah, he refuses. He says, no, we shall rule upon him upon the Sharia. We cannot rule upon with your rulings. If he has done a crime, let him go through a process and we'll take action on him based on that process. When Genghis Khan got this letter, he got even more angry. And he sent a warning, you shall see what I shall do to you and your country. You shall see what I shall do to you people. And he started gathering his army, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of his army. Also, Muhammad Shah prepared his army. So they met in a battle and they fought fiercely for 4 days. A fierce battle. The Muslims massacred many of the Mongolians, but the numbers of the Mongolians was not reducing. They came with a large army. So after 4 days, Muhammad Shah decided, let me retreat with my army, let me go back to my capital city, Orjanda, which is currently in Turkmenistan. So he leaves the battlefield and they run away, they retreat. When Genghis Khan sees this, says, now it's time for me to take revenge on the Muslims. That one mistake of killing my businessman, I shall show the Muslims what my revenge is. So, la'natullah alayh, he sends a small group to the land of Atrar to capture that governor who killed his businessman. So these people, they go to the land of Atrar and they seek this governor. This governor tries running away. He goes to his fortress, he jumps, he breaks his leg, he continues fighting. They capture him and they kill him in the worst form of manner. They take silver, they melt it, and they put it in his eyes and his ears until his brain melts and he dies. Thereafter, Genghis Khan, la'natullah alayhi, he was not satisfied. He said, the biggest city that is near me right now is the city of Bukhara, the city of Imam Muhammad ibn Ismail al-Bukhari, the greatest author of Sahih al-Bukhari, the most authentic book after the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he sends his army to the land of Bukhara and he besieges it. And Bukhara is far from the capital city of the Dawla al-Khawarizm, very far. So he besieges it for days. The Muslims, they negotiate with him. Genghis Khan tells them, I shall give you peace, security, as long as you surrender. A group of the Muslims refused to surrender. And they put themselves in a fortress. The majority surrendered. And they opened the gates of Bukhara to Genghis Khan, la'natullah alayh. Genghis Khan enters and says, those guys have refused. You Muslims have to assist me to deal with this, people who are going against the trend. So the Muslims helped Genghis Khan and finished off their brothers who were hiding in that fortress, who were defending themselves. After this, Genghis Khan, he comes to a mosque in Bukhara and he looks around and he says, where's the wealth of this? Isn't this your palace? He says, no, this is the mosque. He says, show me your palace, show me your wealth. At least let me benefit from my time here. And they show him the wealth of Bukhara. After Genghis Khan is convinced that they've gotten all the information, he issues a very frightening command. He tells his army, it is time to feed the horses. It is time to feed the horses. And the Mongolians, they start killing every single Muslim they could find in the city of Bukhara. They kill the men, they kill the children, they kill the women, they torture any man they can find if they have wealth. They rape so many women. Subhanallah, a great tragedy. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. In a few days in Bukhara, they killed over 500 to 600,000 Muslims. 500,000 to 600,000 Muslims, and he captured a number of prisoners of war. Then he says to himself, what is the next city? This all in the year 616 of the Hijri calendar. He finished Bukhara. Then came the year 617 of the Hijri calendar, which is officially the worst year ever in Islamic history. The year 617 of the Hijri calendar. So Genghis Khan, la'anatullah alayh, he goes to the next city, also in Uzbekistan. Bukhara is in Uzbekistan. He goes to the next city of Samarkand. And he besieges the city of Samarkand. La'natullah alayh. Within this city are 50,000 soldiers, well trained, of the Amir Muhammad Shah. But these people, they get so much fear, the entire army, they say we're not going to fight. The people of Khair, the people of Fadl, the ulama, the fuqaha, the ubbad, the tujjar, the awam, about 70,000 of them, no horses, no training. They take weapons and they go out of the city of Bukhara to fight the Mongolians. When the Mongolians see this army of 70,000 coming towards them, they do something very strange. They run away. They retreat. And these Muslims are not trained in battle. They don't know anything regarding tactics in battle. So they follow this army of Mongolians. Let us show these Mongolians. But the Mongolians had already planned an ambush in front over there. So the Muslims are rushing towards them, and they get shocked that there's an army of Mongolians behind them. They are surrounded from in front, from back, from left, from right. There's nowhere to run. And 70,000 of the best people in Bukhara lost their lives. Ikhwani, sometimes you mention 70,000. Alayhi salatu wassalam, when he lost 70 of his companions in Uhud, it was a great tragedy. When he sent 70 of the Qurra, the reciters of the Quran, to the land of Najd, and they were killed there, the Prophet ﷺ made qunut for 1 month against the people who killed 70 people. What about 70,000 of the best of the city of Samarkand? So Genghis Khan, la'anatullah alayh, he killed all 70,000. And he comes back and besieges the city of Samarkand. Then he starts negotiating with them. But these people know what Genghis Khan did in Bukhara, but they ignore it completely. And they tell Genghis Khan, please give us security. We shall open the gates for you. And Genghis Khan gives them security. It's simple just to say. Because إِنَّهُمْ لَا أَحْدَ لَهُمْ. Allah says in the Quran, إِنَّهُمْ لَا إِيمَانَ لَهُمْ. They do not keep their word. They never keep their word. So the gates of Samarkand were opened. 50,000 soldiers within it. The first command Genghis Khan told them, number 1, throw down your swords. I don't want anyone fighting against me. Remove your weapons. Surrender. Number 2, I want everyone outside to come out the city of Samarkand. Everyone. Everyone should come out. Let me choose one of you as a leader. Let me honor you guys. Everyone should leave the city of Samarkand. So everyone leaves the city of Samarkand and no one remains in the city of Samarkand. Then Genghis Khan orders the leader of Samarkand, his generals, his ministers, all of them should be killed first. Number 2, all the businessmen should be removed from the army. They shall be tortured. They shall be beaten up until they show us where their wealth is. And the rest of the people of Samarkand, do as you please, my army. Kill them, rape them, humiliate them, take them as slaves, do as you wish. And we lost on that day, Khan. This is all in the year 617 of the Hijri calendar. 600,000 Muslims in the land of Samarkand, and Samarkand was utterly left without anyone. Genghis Khan looks at the city of Samarkand and is very impressed with it. And he says, I shall stay here. This is my new city. Mongolia is very far. Let me take Samarkand as my new city. Then he takes a small army, choose 20,000 of my best soldiers. He says to them, go find this Muhammad Shah, the leader of this great land of Dawla al-Khwarizmiyya, very big land. Go find this man. وَلَوْ تَعَلَّقَ فِي السَّمَاءِ. Even if he's hiding in the heavens, go find him in the heavens. So these 20,000, they start searching for Muhammad Shah. So they leave the city of Samarkand and they go to the city of Urjanda. Urjanda, you have to cross a very great river that is known as Nahr Jayhun, Darya. So you have to cross from this side to that side. And the Mongolians didn't have any boats. So the Muslims there didn't even bother about the Mongolians. But the Mongolians, they built some small rafts and they put their weapons on it and they crossed the river of Jayhun with their horses and them walking on foot. Fajr time, the Muslims are shocked. The city of Urjanda has been besieged by the army of the Tatar. The leader of the Muslims, the brave leader at the time, the leader of this great empire, what does he do? He runs away. He runs away, leaves the city by itself. He goes to the city of Nisabur. These 20,000 have been given a specific mission by Genghis Khan. Find the leader of Khawarizm, Muhammad Shah, وَلَوْ تَعَلَّقَ فِي السَّمَاءِ. Even if he's hiding in the heavens, find him. So they need to attack the city of Urjanda. They follow Muhammad Shah. Muhammad Shah runs all the way to Nisabur, the city of Imam Muslim. He goes there, he hears the 20,000 are coming after him. He runs from Nisabur, he goes to another place called Mazidran. He runs to Mazidran, he runs to Hamadan, he comes back to Mazidran. These 20,000 are following him. Through the lands of the Muslims, none of the Muslims are even fighting these 20,000. Very small number, 20,000. None of them are obstructing the road. So he reaches Mazidran again, and he takes a ship and he crosses into the Caspian Sea to a small island. When the army of the Mongolians, 20,000 of them, they reach the banks of the Caspian Sea and they see, that is the ship of Muhammad Shah. It has left. We can't do much about it. What do we do now? There are many Muslims around. Let us finish them. Subhanallah. So they leave Mazidran. They come to the city of Mazidran. In one day they capture it and kill everyone. And this city of Mazidran, in Islamic history, it was one of the most difficult cities for the Muslims to conquer. The Muslims at the time of Umar al-Khattab, they conquered most of Persia, but they could not conquer this city of Mazidran until later on, 80 years later on, at the time of Sulaiman ibn Abdul Malik. They could not conquer it easily. But these Mongolians, in one day, 2 days, an army of 20,000, they conquered the city of Mazidran, massacred everyone. Then they go to Iran, a place called Ray, and they besiege the city, and they massacre everyone in that city. And they continue doing this facade, just this 20,000. On the other hand, all this is the year 617 of the Hijri calendar. Genghis Khan, la'natullah alayhi, is in Samarkand, but he wants blood. This is a person who has lived in blood, he's lived in massacres. He says, this land is divided into two, Khurasan and Khawarizm. I'll send a portion of my army to Khawarizm and a portion of my army to Khurasan. So he starts with Khurasan. He goes to a city called Balkh, that's in Afghanistan, and he besieges it. And the Muslims, they surrender. And they say, give us security. And Genghis Khan gives them security. He does not kill them. He does not rape their women. He does nothing to them. Subhanallah. Why did he do this? Because the Muslims in Balkh, they agreed to a very humiliating condition. He says to them, assist me to finish off your fellow Muslims. So the army of Balkh, they join the army of Genghis Khan. And they go towards the city of Marw, the city of the Imam Abdul Malik, Abdullah ibn Mubarak al-Marwazi rahimahullah, who passed away in the year 181 of the Hijri calendar. So they come to the city of Marw, and they find the Muslims have prepared a great army to fight the Mongolians, an army of 200,000, but they're not trained well. Genghis Khan defeats this army and massacres them, and enters the city of Marw and kills every Muslim he can find within it. His son, not Genghis Khan, his son enters the city of Marw and kills everyone and destroys the city. So much so that that city does not even appear on the map till our day. Destroyed everything, killed everyone. So the son of Genghis Khan, la'natullah alayh, he says, the next great city is the city of Imam Muslim, Nisabur. Just for benefit, all the 6 scholars of hadith, they come from this area of the world. Imam Bukhari, Muslim, Abu Dawud al-Sijistani, al-Tirmidhi, al-Nasai, Ibn Majah al-Qazwini. They all come from this area of the world. So the army of the son of Genghis Khan goes to the city of Nisabur, a city that has over 1 million Muslims staying there. He besieges it, betrays them, and he kills them after betraying them. But here he issues a very, very scary command. He says to everyone, it has reached the news that the people you claimed to kill in Marw, 700,000 were killed in the city of Marw. Some of them did not die. You hit them with your swords, they fell down, and they pretended to die. I do not want any of this to repeat. I want every person you kill in the city of Nisabur, you bring their head. So they brought castles and they built mountains with the skulls of Muslims in the city of Nisabur. We are still in the events of the year 617 of the Hijri calendar. One of the signs of the Day of Judgment, as mentioned by our Prophet ﷺ, is the appearance of the Tatar who are from the Turkish tribe, or the Turkish family, as mentioned by our Prophet ﷺ. So the city of Nisabur destroyed, the city of Bukhara destroyed, the city of Samarkand destroyed, and he continued massacring many Muslims until La'natullah alayh passed away in the year 624 of the Hijri calendar. This is one of the greatest tragedies that happened in Islamic history. Ikhwani fillah, there's a historian in this period, he's called Ibn al-Athir. There's Ibn Kathir and there's Ibn Athir, Sahib al-Kamil. He has written a book called Al-Kamil fi Tarikh. He says, Wallahi, I'm a historian, but every single time I want to write about this history of the Tatar and the Mongolians, Wallahi, I cannot write. Every time I delay for 1 year, for months, I want to write, but I cannot write. Says very fearful words, or words of misery. He says, وَكَيْفَ أَكْتُبْ عَنْ نَاعِ الْإِسْلَامِ وَالْمُسْلِمِينَ. And how can I write an obituary of Islam and the Muslims? Islam and the Muslims almost ended at the hands of these Mongolians, Genghis Khan la'natullah alayh, in the year 616 to the year 624, and more especially in the year 617 of the Hijri calendar. So these are the events relating to Genghis Khan and how he destroyed the entire empire of the Khawarizm. Contains the countries of Azerbaijan, Iran, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan. All this great area, he massacred the Muslims within it. Is this the end of the Mongolians? No, it is not the end of the Mongolians. For the grandson of Genghis Khan, la'natullah alayh, he did a great crime on the Muslims in the lands of Baghdad in the year 656 of the Hijri calendar. Who is this grandson of Genghis Khan? And how did he come to destroy the Khilafah al-Islamiyya in the city of Baghdad in the year 656 of the Hijri calendar, where we lost how many millions of Muslims? This is what we shall look at in our lecture tomorrow night. Wallahu a'lam. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.